Hey comic fans, I've got a 2-for-1 special for you today from the Infinity Countdown series. Darkhawk number 1 and number 2. Get ready as we dive deeper into Infinity Countdown. So I'm going to start with Darkhawk 1 for a really good reason, and that's because chronologically it comes first. But in Darkhawk 1, we start with the Raptors. Now, you remember seeing the Raptors previously in Infinity Countdown 1 and 2 getting their butts handed to them by the Guardians of the Galaxy and everyone's favorite Nova Commander. But now they've grabbed Robbie Rider, Nova's brother, and they've brought him here. And he's obviously upset because he didn't know that Richard Rider, Nova, was still alive. However, they have him here because of the Negabands. He's basically going to open up a portal to the null space. And when he does, he finds something there that he was not expecting. And what he finds is the real Raptors. And they let these little fake, wannabe Raptors have it. And Robbie is the only one left standing, basically because of the Negabands, and setting up a force field around himself. Long story short, this new Raptor leader decides not to kill Robbie, but instead have him join the Raptors, and he will give him a Raptor name once he has destroyed Earth. Or that's the plan, because every good plan in the galaxy, in the entire universe, begins with destroying Earth. From there, we join Chris Powell, who's in pursuit of some perps who, whatever, they're shooting at him. He takes a round, spins out, is about to hit a pole, and right at that time, bust out, Darkhawk style, just looking all good. I mean, that's just a great shot right there. Just busting out of the windshield like a boss, and he flies out in front of this car, and their first response is that Iron Man? And he blasts them, rips the car in half with an amulet blast, and just lets these guys know what's really going on. I don't want you to get too excited though, because after that we follow with that exciting scene, that gripping scene with dialogue. And then once we've gone through the dialogue, we get more dialogue. And then after the dialogue, you get 2 pages full of dialogue. Look at all this dialogue. That's like reading a darn chapter book, not a comic book. I mean, my goodness. And since this is so much dialogue, I'm going to do a favor here, and I'm going to do this with post-it notes. So first you got Lieutenant Stone, and what you need to know is he has seen some stuff. He's seen some stuff, man. And he's also trying to recruit Chris Powell to Code Blue. And what Code Blue is basically the first line of defense against these superpowered threats when they attack, because they're pretty frequent in New York City. It's like an every other day occurrence. So they're basically the first line of defense. It's almost like a Suicide Squad kind of thing. Second is in this dialogue balloon maze here. All right, you got her. That's his fiance Miranda. Yay. And then you got the scientist, Doctor Lady, who is telling Chris Powell and Miranda that here's the deal. Every time you change into Darkhawk basically stores information in the amulet of your makeup and basically destroys you. And then once you're ready to change back, he rebuilds you. So, of course, she's not too crazy about it, but he's just, whatever. It's what I do. I'm Darkhawk, right? Now, it's easy to miss, but during the Wealth to Science conversation, they actually mentioned that they sent a message out, and there's some kind of battle in deep space that's keeping Nova from getting back to them. But basically, they requested a spaceship, and Chris wants to pursue the Raptors and go out and try to destroy them. Well, that's when suddenly a hologram of Nova shows up and explains to him, hey, look, I can't help you out. Darkhawk's pretty ticked. He's like, what do you mean no? He's like, look, bro, they got Robbie. They got my brother. He's Talinar. So I'm not going to turn you loose on them. Well, Nova gets interrupted. There's an explosion or something. He has to leave, and Chris is left there just trying to figure out what he's going to do. So he decides, hey, I'm just going to go out, go for a fly, get some air, maybe run into Spidey, have a conversation about, who knows what. And that's when he is just straight up shot out of the air and blown to the ground. And while he's standing there, whoever shot him comes up, steps on his head, and you get a shot of Death's head. And it's been a while since we've seen Death's head. If you don't know Death's head, he started as a Transformers character, and just over time has just been this space bounty hunter. And that's actually why he's here now, is to collect a bounty from the fraternity of Raptors for the Darkhawk armor. And so they mix it up pretty good. And finally, Darkhawk puts it together that, hey, you got a spaceship, right? So you can take me to the Raptors? Let's do it. And he turns himself in. And that gets us to the beginning of Darkhawk 2. And Darkhawk 2 begins by just showing us how great a dude Death's Head is. He actually lets Darkhawk say goodbye to his fiancée before shipping him off to space. Now, obviously, this just gets into kind of, hey, I'm worried. What are you doing? Is this a good idea? Is his name actually Death's Head? That's crazy. And then they warp up to Death's Head's ship. Now, one thing that he makes very clear in this conversation prior to being transported up to the ship is that this is a bunch of cosplay wannabe Raptors. He thinks he's going to fight the fake Raptors, the suburban gangster Raptors or something. Like, he is not. He's not really thinking he's in for a big fight. So he's on the ship, chilling, kicked back, taking a nap, has a little dream where you get some dialogue. But no sooner than we switch the page, boom, Death's Head is getting rocked and his ship's getting blown all to heck. And Chris Powell is floating in space and can't reach the amulet. So he changes into Darkhawk. But as soon as he does, he is straight up jumped and just flown straight into the ground. And just, he is into it deep. He's got 4-5 Raptors all over him. And he's sitting there thinking, he's like, what's going on here? Yeah, and he can't figure it out. He's like, this isn't right. And still trying to figure out, holy cow, these guys are real Raptors. They aren't the fake thing. And he just gets mugged, beat down. Like I said, he walked into this fight thinking he was walking into some suburban wannabe gangsters, and he walked in on some straight OGs, and they just jacked him up. The Raptors finally overwhelm Darkhawk, and Geyer, the leader, comes down and starts talking to him. And that's when Robbie mentions that the amulet he has might be exactly what they need. And then it gets really interesting because the leader of the Raptors, Geyer, starts talking about the Phoenix Force. And he starts talking about, surely you've heard the tales of that cosmic entity. Well, every beast has a predator, and hers was Rothakon. And he starts explaining that Rothakon is the Starhawk. And he explains in how there was a whole army of Raptors that were unstoppable, even to the Phoenix. And that's crazy. And a lot of people are familiar with the Phoenix Force through the X-Men series. And as he finishes telling them about this, he explains that they need 2 tributes in order for this to work. One willing and one forced. And as he says that, he punches right through Darkhawk's chest and rips out the amulet. And that, him laying on the ground and them turning Talinar into the Dark Starhawk, is how we end the second issue of Darkhawk. So as far as a review for these two books, I like Darkhawk. However, I do feel like I'm jumping in the deep end of the swimming pool here and trying to get caught up. It's a book from over 20 years ago that they kind of brought back, and they brought it back with a episode or a legacy number 51, and then it was right into this. So it was a lot, and it was really quick for those who weren't old Darkhawk fans. Overall, though, I really, really liked it. I wish this writer would have gotten with the Infinity Countdown Adam Warlock writer and said, hey, use the visual medium to explain it. Use what they did there, because that was so much better. And you can go back and look at my Infinity Countdown video of how good of a job they did of catching the reader up on a character that, you know, not everybody knows about Adam Warlock. If you're not a big comic book fan, you may have never heard of him. So I really like the way they did it, and I think they could have done it better in this book as well. So just like I rolled issue 1 and 2 together for this video, I plan to roll issues 3 and 4 together for my next video, and you can expect that out tomorrow night. So guys, appreciate you listening. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, discuss it, and let's hit the bell for notifications so as soon as these videos pop out, you don't miss it. Thanks guys. Real Comic Stacks out.